Greetings, YouTube. I thought I'd give the internet a quick tour of my 90-gallon reef tank here. It's built into an old bookcase that used to be here. You can still see the outline. It hasn't been refinished yet, but this part I put on a hinge. And I could lock up here to keep this thing open and not slam me in the head. Got the Mars Aqua LED lights on it right now. I'm pretty happy with those for the cost. Really can't beat that. So inside the tank, got a lot of cordias, some Redactus mushrooms, some SPS I'm trying out on the top, some acros, some millies, more acro. Seem to be doing just fine under the LED lighting. My giant clam, which I'm really proud of. This thing has gotten pretty big, and that's a huge Anthias. It's kind of hard to put it in scale, but you can see my mushrooms down there in the bottom. Got my Japanese dendro. I think it's Japanese, I don't know. Cynaria. Those are one of my favorite corals right there. I love these things. You can actually see through its body into the skeleton if you look just right. Weird. Anyway, let's look at the back here. My dedicated fish room. This used to be a library, but I'd rather have fish. So this is all plumbed together. Got the 90-gallon display in the wall, which goes down to a 55-gallon sump with a wet dry, my Euro Reef skimmer. Got a calcium reactor hooked up, which just barely keeps up with the tank. I still have to add calcium and alkalinity buffer. That's hooked up through a dosing pump, and my reef keeper. I can control my pH in the reactor pretty easily just through the solenoid on the tank. Right there. I've only got about a bubble every 3 seconds or so going. 4 seconds. Anyway, that's hooked up to another 55-gallon tank, which is my refugium. Click this light on here, where I grow a bunch of grape caulerpa and shado. This is my little rainforest that keeps everything happy and my nitrates low. And then that is also hooked up to this 180, which I only have half of it lit right now with some of the current orbit lighting. This is where I grow a ridiculous amount of green hammer corals. There's probably a couple hundred heads in there. Let's get a good top view. It's my hammer farm. Started growing this at least 10 years ago, just from one piece. Just keep fragging it up, selling it here and there. But there's really no fish in this tank. Just a damsel and a sea hare to help eat some of the algae. This is my failed phytoplankton growing experiment, which, yeah, I gave up on pretty quick. Just gonna be growing some algae, but that's about it. Supply shelf, definitely recommend getting one of these wire things to help organize all your crap. And I also have a mixing tank here with a float valve. I can fill this guy up through my RO system. And and mix up about 50 gallons at a time. And I have a bulkhead on the bottom that runs up to this tube here, so I don't actually have to pump the water out. Just lower the tube below the water level and voila, right into a jug, good to go. And then just make sure this doesn't fall out, because that would be really bad. Automatic fire extinguisher, definitely a little bit of peace of mind there. Pretty sure it's upside down, but better than nothing. RO system I've had some fun with. Got the piggyback on there to reduce the wastewater. Deionization. This thing is cool. It's counts how much water has gone through your system there, so you know when to change your filters. TDS meter, just to double check everything. Don't have a chiller hooked up. Well, I had one, but it crapped out on me. But I just have this fan hooked up to my Digital Aquatics Reef Keeper here, and that'll kick on whenever it gets above 77.5. It actually does a pretty good job of bringing down the temperature in the room and keeping it from getting too hot. Oh yeah, and then a 45-gallon RO tank here. This is where my calcium reactor gets its water, and also my auto top off. Auto top off. For years, I thought, I don't need one, whatever. But Jesus, once I put that thing on there, my life got a whole lot easier. Anyway, back to the tank. If you guys have any questions about the setup or corals, you can leave it in the comments below and I'll get back to you about that. I got a few corals from battlecorals.com I haven't heard of before. This one here, Samacora. I also got this battleberry, which is super cool. Hasn't really started growing, but it's definitely not dying. And then they sent me a free frag. Whatever this thing is here. I don't know what the hell it is, some kind of Monty. But it started bleaching a little bit under the really bright lights, so I moved it down. And I'm not sure, but I think this is a bounce mushroom. I have no idea what kind, but it resembles a bounce. And I'm stoked about that, because I didn't buy that. Later.